Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to fly the Boeing 787-9 again using the Horizon Sim mod. We will be flying the famous Qantas flight from London directly to Australia in the form of Qantas Flight 10. Now, I did consider doing the little bit longer Australia to London run, however, that one would have been almost a complete night flight, so I figure since you guys do like the flight during the daylight a little bit more, including a sunrise and a sunset, we are going to fly into the eastbound direction. Alright then, without any further ado, let's get into our cockpit, because it is slightly loud out here in Heathrow, and let's go ahead and start today's flight by analyzing our flight plan. So this is a little bit longer one, almost 8,000 nautical miles, and this is what it looks like. We will be departing London Heathrow, heading across Europe, Turkey, Iraq, and across the Gulf, through the United Arab Emirates and Oman, and then all the way southbound towards Australia. We do have a couple of ETOP segments over here, which we will talk about a little bit later, but for now let's have a look into the significant weather chart. As you can see, departing the UK, we are going to have clear skies for the first, let's say, 3 hours-ish before we're entering this area of turbulence around those jet streams over here. Now, from there, going across Arabia, we are going to have quite a bit of turbulence, also in part due to those jet streams with up to 160 knots over here, which are going to accelerate our flight hugely, but on the other hand side also make it a little bit turbulent over here. Moving around into the next part of our flight, we will have another couple hours of calm before crossing the intertropical convergence zone that we can see down here, and then eventually heading down towards Australia, where we will be expecting a little bit of moderate turbulence again during our descent and arrival into Perth. For the airport weather, disregarding those SIGMATs for the time being, London Heathrow has easterly winds, so probably a runway 9 in use for our departure. And over in Perth, they're looking at awesome weather, 30 degrees, clear skies at the moment. And in 17 hours when we arrive, probably a little bit colder, since it will be, well, not really morning anymore, but you get where I'm going with that, and overall good weather conditions. Our outlet in Brussels is also featuring good weather, so overall looking good for our standard flight. Now looking into the ETOP scenario, Muscat is good, Colombo is good as well, Kuala Lumpur has lovely weather, and Perth as our final airport is good as well. Going into the OFP, we're departing at 11:50 and scheduled to arrive at 04:30. So we're basically looking at an on-time arrival for this one, and then going on down, you can see the route string's rather long, basically starting in level 330, ending up in level 410, some 15 or 16 hours later. Going down into the fuel section of our flight plan, then we are starting with 97 tons of fuel plus taxi, so 97.5. We do have half an hour of ETOPS fuel included, so I don't see any reason to take any extra over our standard fuel here. So let's just round it up. We take 98 tons of fuel, and then we are good to go. And that's going to cover for the 16 hours and 21 minutes of flight time. Alright, so all of that aside, let's go ahead and start powering up our 787. So the battery is coming on, the external power is coming on. Now let's initially give it a while to actually power up over here before we do something else. And here we go. So what do we want to do here? We check for the oil quantity, which is full, hydraulic quantity is full, oxygen is good, the liquid cooling is good, no status messages, that's all good. Then let's check the ICAS, recall, and check for everything that we can see down here, but this is all looking fantastic. Alright, so there's nothing to complain about over there. Let's go ahead and start our APU. We'll also get the IRSs going, and then we are also going to turn on the packs over here, which are electrically operated in the 787. So that means we can turn them on, basically speaking, even without the APU. I forgot that, but I do happen to forget starting the APU in this aircraft. I don't know why it is, so I just want to get it going right now already. Alright, so we got 29 minutes till our scheduled departure time, so let's go ahead and get this thing ready, and we are going to start by going right down here onto the item page, index, and then into the settings, weight and balance, and over here we are going to set those things from the SimBrief OFP, and then we are going to slightly change the fuel. We want 98 tons today, like this. Why is that an invalid entry? Have I been too quick? Maybe. 98 tons. Here we go. This time we could enter it. Perfect. Alright, beautiful. Then we've done all this stuff. As you can see, we just have 215 passengers on board, but with that we're almost reaching max takeoff weight for the 787 because of the huge load of fuel that we are carrying. Okay, so that's our basics. Then let's go ahead and start getting her ready for today's service. And we'll start right down here on the FMS. Now I am using MobiFlight to control my input keys over here, so that if you don't see me typing, that's because I am using my WinWing MCDU for this. But it doesn't support the line select keys, so we still have to do those manually. A little bit of a hybrid over here in the 787, but hey, it's freeware, and for that it's still absolutely awesome. Alright, starting on the item page then. It's a 787-9 with a GE-NX engine. The nav database is up to date. Going for the position in it, we can copy and paste the GPS position. For the route, we are absolutely going to request this. I am not going to go down the manual way down here of entering that entire thing. At the same time, let's get to the com page and do an Asus request for Echo Golf Lima Lima. Why is that invalid? Interesting. Okay, let's try that again. Echo Golf Lima Lima, Android Asus, and send that request, please. And now that that is on the way, let's go ahead and get the Asus. Here it is. And it looks like they've changed to runway 27 with a wind at 7 knots. Okay, quite a bit of tailwind, but that is absolutely possible. So, departing runway 27 left, wind 100 at 7, visibility 10, overcast 600, temperature 8, dew point 7, QNH 988, transition level 80. That looks about good, but we have to take a ton more fuel because runway 09 would have been a direct departure, and runway 27 means we have to fly around the block. So let's just go ahead and load an additional ton of fuel here, which brings us to 99 tons of fuel. Alright, our flight plan is here. Heathrow to Perth, Qantas 10. Let's go ahead. Departure and arrival, runway. What is active here? Departing 27 left. So we are going to go with that. So runway 27 left. Now let's get up our flight plan. Here we go. Departing via Detling 1 Juliet. No longer. Now it's Detling 2 Golf. We can also arm that hot takeoff and then execute that. And for the arrivals, we'll initially enter an ILS approach runway 21 with the IPMOG 2 Alpha. Here it is, coming from CACME, and execute. Alright, so a quick check through the flight plan. I'm not going to check every single one waypoint here because that would just be a little bit too much work right now for my taste. But overall, this is looking quite good. From Woofy, we'll eventually get vectors or something, so I'll keep the discontinuity in there. Now let's go on to the performance initialization. Zero fuel weight is 155.1. The reserve fuel is going to be 4.4. Then we'll be cruising in flight level 330. That has correctly been entered. Our cost index is going to be 30. Fuel freezing temperature, well, it doesn't really matter. Cruise CG, let's enter 25. And for the takeoff, it will be noise abatement procedure number 2. So acceleration height in 1000 AGL. The rest down here is looking good. Alright then, on to the legs page. Unfortunately, we do not have charts integrated in this aircraft yet, so we will be using the charts from the FS24 EFB. So let's see, departure, runway 27 left, and we did have the Detling departure, did we? Yeah, Detling 2 Golf, alright. So let's have a look at this. Dattling to Golf 27 left, straight ahead to 1 DME from India Lima Lima, which is the alpha point. Left turn, 235 inbound to Epsom. And over at Epsom, it's going to be, well, Epsom is 4,000 above, the checks. Then a left turn, 091. Inbound to Dattling, crossing 32 DME at 5,000 or above. 29 DME at 6,000, that is looking correct. And then we got 5 DME at 6,000 and Dattling at 6,000. And that's pretty much it. MSA is 2,100, all the rest is looking good down here. So let's go ahead and make that wind data request, otherwise we are surely going to get some insufficient fuel messages. Alright, load. And that should theoretically give us an execute prompt, but it doesn't, okay. Well, so be it. Descent forecast uplink load, and finally the climb forecast uplink load as well. Alright, finally Echo Golf Lima Lima, and we need a 9-mile circle. Well, a 25-mile circle. What was I thinking about with 9 miles? I don't know. Transition altitude 250 below 10,000 is in here. Transition altitude in the UK is 6,000. So let's enter that, and let's actually make that 6,001 so that it still recognizes. Okay, doesn't support it. Alright, well then. Throttle 60, VNAV may be leveling off at a wrong altitude there, but at least we do have it in mind now. Alright, cool. Then let's continue on. We need hectopascals, and the QNH is 9088. Here we go, that's set on this side, and let's see. Also set on this side. Alright, looking good. MFRA is going to be something like 1,100 or so. So something like this. Okay, cool. So far so good. Then let's go ahead and go over the rest of our panel. Starting up here, IRSs are on, primary flight computers are auto, down here everything's looking good. Okay, flight deck door power on, emergency lights armed, window heat is coming on, hydraulics remain off, refueling is complete, so the seatbelts can go on. Alright, up here everything is set, anti-eye is going into auto. Up here everything is set, the lights are set, and then we can move down and turn on the flight directors. Initial climb, probably going to be about 6,000, and the runway heading 272. Like that. Alright, auto thrust can also be armed over here. Then let's go ahead and set up the nav display, traffic, terrain, menu, and I also want my airports over here. And the rest up front is set. On the right hand side, the same thing, traffic, terrain, airports, thank you. Alright, auto brake RTO, frequencies to be set up later on, and, well, we can already tune 1 to 1.5. So 1 to 1.5 is in here, we'll do the airport frequencies later on. Transponder should be off at this time, and the squawk 2000. Okay, cool. So that's our setup completed for the time being. Then let's go ahead and request our IFR clearance, and once that is received, we will then do our briefing. So cancel that ATIS, please. And yep, I should probably have checked the identifier. Sierra. Alright, so flight information, exit, and departure clearance request. ATC facility will be Heathrow. We're going from Heathrow to Perth as Qantas 10. Our gate is 313. And our ATIS is Sierra, and we'll call it a good morning. Alright, that stuff is looking good. Let's send that out, and then we are just waiting for the clearance to arrive. In the meantime, our boarding should already be completed, so let's say hello to our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of Qantas, I would like to welcome you all on board our Boeing 787 on our flight towards Perth. Today's flight time will be 16 hours and 20 minutes, expecting a smooth flight for the majority part of the flight. However, minor turbulences can be expected every now and then, so please do keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you're in your seats. Thank you very much for your attention. Once again, welcome aboard, and now sit back, relax, and make yourself comfortable. The cabin crew will shortly commence their safety demonstration, so please do pay your full attention, as that is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the passengers sitting around you. Alright, we don't need any PA in another language, so that's it. Here's our clearance, Perth, deadling to Golf departure, runway 27 left. And we got 27 left and deadling to Golf. Maintain 6000, which is set, and squawk 5762. Okay, departure 125625. Let's put that in here just as a reminder, and that's it. Alright, accept. And here we go, clearance is accepted. Perfect. What else do we have there? Request status. Alright, that was probably from a bit earlier. Alright, looking good. So we're done with all of our setup over here. Then let's go ahead and go into the departure briefing. So we're departing Heathrow, runway 27 left, deadling to Golf departure, initial climb 6000, MSA 3000 feet, and we've got no extra fuel. Well, we did upload a bit for the SID, which is slightly longer than expected, but apart from that, no extra fuel. Alright, no hotspots for our taxi out. However, the routing can be a little complicated, especially we're getting close to the holding point, so we do pay good attention in that regard. Our stop margin for the takeoff is not going to be very much, so hot brakes can be anticipated. We are above the maximum landing weight, however Heathrow does have long runways, so we can do an overweight landing if required. However, I would basically go into the holding for everything, work the related procedures. Only if the airplane is on fire and unextinguishable, only then I would basically make it a traffic pattern. Something like 6 miles final, come back, land, and then we'll see what we're going to do. Apart from that, I got no specials, I got nothing non-standard, and that's pretty much it. Any questions? Nope. Beautiful, then that's our briefing complete. So let's do the pre-flight checklist. And pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so let's start with our takeoff performance. Heathrow 27 left, the runway is dry. Winds 105 at 7. So 105 at 7, here we are. That was a hassle to type in. Alright, and the temperature is +8. Like that. Thrust rating, let's see, optimum, flap config. I do want to make it 5 if we can. Anti-ice, where's the clouds? 600, yeah, we are going to use engine anti-ice for the takeoff. Alright, improved climb is not required. The weight and CG are, and zero fuel weight are looking good. Center of gravity, I suppose we will find out later. So let's just hit calculate here. No takeoff allowed. Yeah, no, that is not true. We can definitely take off. Let's see if anti-ice changes anything. 225.9. No, that's not... I mean, it doesn't like the tailwind, I get that, but... Let's see if the flap setting changes anything. Not really. No, this is not accurate. Let's go ahead and use the SimBrief calculator instead. So let's bring up our Firefox over here. Then we got takeoff performance. And we are going to make it runway 27 left. All the rest is looking good. Takeoff weight 255. That should keep us safe. Calculate. Huh. Max weight exceeded here as well. Okay, that's interesting. So we really can't go with the tailwind. That is a problem. That is a problem. We can't lose 7 tons of weight either. Let's see. Improved climb is already on. Anti-ice setting. Does anything change if we turn it off? No. Okay. Let's see what we can do about this. Is 27 right any longer? It is. Brings us a little bit extra, but insignificant. Okay, let's see if anything changes if we take 0 wind. Oh, come on. No, this is not right. If it tells us we can't even take off with 0 wind... If the tailwind had an impact, I could understand it, but... If this tells us that even 0 wind is not working, then I am not believing those calculations. Let's see if anything changes in here if we go 0 wind. Yeah, look at that. I mean, never trust 12 degrees of flaps flags. Flaps 18. Yeah, I tell you what, this is probably the best we are going to get. I mean, we know that it works in the real life. I didn't take a particularly high payload either, so I'm just going to do it this way. So we'll take full blast, flaps 18. By the way, just quickly checking, would flaps 5 change anything? No, okay, yeah, then it remains on flaps 18. Cool. So, init rev 155.1 is going to stay like that. Then we got full thrust and flaps 18. Alright, CG 18 as well, 8.75 units of trim. Like that, and 49, 53, 59. This is the point where I wish I would have a good takeoff performance calculator, because those are interesting exercises, they really are. But I do believe this is all simulator limitation over here. Alright, so this is all looking good. Then let's go ahead and prepare the airplane for pushback and departure, please. No de-icing needed, and then let's go ahead and find ourselves a ground frequency. So Duttling, we can pin this, and airport chart, AGC. Let's open that one. So where are we? We need down here. Frequencies, Heathrow, ground. We don't really know which one it is, do we? No, we don't? Okay, well, then we should have gotten the next frequency from delivery, but doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and call ground 121905. Probably not the right one, but this is how you can do it with, say, Intentions AI. So, oh god, 121.905. Alright, and that thing works. Good. So we've basically done this, and then let's just go ahead and get ourselves that clearance. Heathrow ground, Qantas 10, request pushback and engine start.
Qantas 10, pushback and engine start approved. Face southeast.
Pushback and startup approved, facing southeast, Qantas 10. Okay, lovely. We can also arm LNAV VNAV, forgot that earlier, and then let's go ahead and continue pushback. No, thanks, and facing southeast. Let's see, do we want to go on Bravo or on Romeo? Well, southeast is somewhere here, so on Romeo. Okay. Ground flight deck. Go. So, can we pressurize hydraulics? Yes, sir, you're clear to pressurize. Thank you. Okay, before start checklist. Passenger signs on MCP V2159 heading 272, altitude 6000, takeoff speeds 149, 153, 159, CDU pre-flight completed, taxi and takeoff briefing completed, before start checklist complete. So, ground from flight deck, we're clear to push and start, and the parking brake is now released. Roger that, and stand by for engine start, we call you back. Alright, here we go. 8 minutes ahead of schedule, which we are probably going to need since the calculated arrival time was just about on time, but hey, here we go. So they're probably pushing us something like that in a U-turn. Is this the line where they are going to release us? Not quite sure, can't even tell what this is at all. In any case, that's what we've entered. We're sitting in a 787, that means we can start both engines at the same time, and hey, look at that, that's our flight to Sydney via Singapore. I do not like that angle. See, you've got that red line on the nose gear doors down there, and if the tuck turns the nose wheel further than the red line, that's basically your aircraft AOG. Alright, here we are. So, ground flight, we're starting engines 1 and 2. And the pushback is completed. Please set brakes. Park and brake set. I just love this sound. Just listen to this. All right. So, ground flight deck, we got 2 good engine starts. Please disconnect and show me the clear signal on the right hand side and have a good day. Bye bye. That thing goes off, anti-ice comes on. So, flaps 18. Gotta be like that one, I think. Okay. So, ready for flight controls? Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Before taxi checklist, anti-ice, engine anti-ice on, recall checked, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear, APU off. Before taxi checklist complete. Qantas 10, request taxi.
Speedbird 791 Golf, taxi to parking via Alpha 9er, Echo Alpha.
Alpha 9er, Echo Alpha, Speedbird 791 Golf.
Qantas 10, runway 027 left taxi via Romeo Bravo, link 28, November 1.
Romeo Bravo, link 28, November 1, holding point 27 left, Qantas 10. Okay, so Romeo Bravo Link 28 and November 1. Great, we're clear on the left side, we're clear on the right side. Let's go. Man, we do need quite a bit of thrust to move her. Okay, so everything on the right hand side is clear there. What is that Virgin doing on the left there? That's surely looking fancy, but as long as we can overtake before they are doing more fancy stuff with their A350... A330, my apologies. Alrighty. So they're just sitting there and waiting. I'm not gonna complain about that. Cool. So let's review the takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 27 left, flaps 18, noise abatement procedure number 2. Just to review the flap retraction schedule, it's going to be from 18
runway 027 left taxi via link 32 Alpha,
to
link
10,
28
5
November 1.
up. So 18, 10, 5 up.
Left taxi via link 32 Alpha, link 28 November 1.
Alright, the SID is a left-hand turnout. We call departure when advised by ATC. 3,000 feet keeps us safe, and that's pretty much it. The takeoff, well, is going to be safe. I'm not concerned about that, but we do have in mind what our performance calculators have said earlier on. Alright, and that's it. Any questions? Nope. Beautiful. Before takeoff checklist? Before takeoff checklist complete. So, looks like we are behind the American in front of us. Another 787. I am really hoping that we are going to get a good 787 at some point in the future. Perhaps PMDG, perhaps Bluebird, we'll see, but either of them would definitely sound intriguing. Okay. So, suppose the American is going to depart in front of us, and then it's going to be our turn. Tower handoff would be appreciated already. Qantas 10, ready for departure. Let's see if it helps.
Qantas 10, you're on ground frequency. Contact tower for departure clearance.
And what is the tower frequency? Normally, they would just tell you contact tower frequency, blah blah.
Qantas 10, tower frequency is 124.48.
124.48, Qantas 10, bye bye. Heathrow Tower, Qantas 10 Heavy, ready for departure. So, departure 125625.
Qantas 10 Heavy, Heathrow Tower,
Runway 27 left. Hold short. 789 on the runway.
Holding short 27 left, Qantas 10. Okay, the 87 is departing. Then here we are. Basically ready to go, just waiting for them now. Ooh, that was an interesting rotation. Instead of 3 degrees per second, that was like 10 degrees per second.
Qantas 10 heavy. Runway 27 left. Winds 100 at 7. Cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27 left, clear for takeoff. Qantas 10. And I suppose the American just crashed. Interesting, I thought things like these only happen on VATSIM, not with AI traffic. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Alright, the before takeoff checklist is complete. Let's go for weather on my side. And looking at the departure, it's just the approach sector where there is some rain. The departure is actually looking good. Alright. So the approach area is clear. The right hand side is also clear. It is raining a bit. Well, we do not really have wet runway figures. But then again, the runway isn't really wet yet. It just started. So, ready? Anti-ice is on. That should definitely be needed right now. Alright. Looks good. Take off. Thrust set. $80 knots, wipers off, in order not to scratch the windshield. Disregard the anti-ice on message. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Was that a momentary stick shaker activation? Doesn't sound right for the given conditions.
Qantas 10. Contact departure on 125.625.
125.625 Qantas 10. Alright, autopilot on. Heathrow departure Qantas 10 heavy passing 1,500, climbing 6,000. Flaps 5. Speed checked.
Qantas 10 heavy.
Well, now flaps 5.
Identified. Climb flight level 06.
Flaps 1. Climbing flight level 60, Qantas 10. Checklist incomplete norm, disregard that, that's a known bug. So weather is generally looking good. And flaps up. Or actually, tell you what, we need to ask ATC first.
10, climb flight level 200.
Climbing now, flight level 200, Qantas 10. Set, 200 checked. So altitude restrictions are removed, this stuff can go away as well. Qantas 10, request speed 260 knots.
124.480, Air Canada 860.
Qantas 10 heavy, speed 260 knots, approved.
Speed 260 approved, Qantas 10 heavy. Flaps up. Speed checked. So disregard that before takeoff checklist, that is a bug. After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete. Alright. Why is it not going for 280 or 260? At least the clean speed. Well, then we do it manually.
Contact London Control on 133.705.
133.705, Qantas 10. London Control, Qantas 10 heavy, passing 5,800, climbing flight level 200. Why is it going into VNAV path? We removed the restrictions.
Qantas 10, London Control, identified.
Please go climbing again.
QNH 987.
987, Qantas 10. Okay, set standard. Standard cross check, passing flight level 76 now. Checked. Okay, a little bit of cloud surfing, and then we're on our way to Australia. So we don't need that timer any longer, the elapsed timer is running down there, and everything else is set. Lovely.
Qantas 10, climb flight level 260.
Climbing flight level 260, Qantas 10. Set, 260 checked. And then we're approaching 10,000. Speed is managed again. Lights off. Fast melt auto. And you can have the full nav display down there. Alright then. For the time being, we are done with everything we had to do. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And if there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, don't hesitate to ask in the comments. my friends, we're on the way into Perth and just about 60 miles out. So let's go ahead and call approach, which is going to be on 123.6.
Qantas 10, descend, flight level 1.
Yeah, that was bad timing, but approach will tell us. We just got the handover. Perth approach, Qantas 10, maintaining 14,000. So, let's see what they're going to be up to. The Asus already tells us runway 21 is in use.
Qantas 10 heavy, Perth approach, identified. Good afternoon, cleared Wookie transition. Expect the ILS Yankee runway 21 approach into Perth.
Cleared Wookie transition, expecting the ILS Yankee 21, Qantas 10. Alright, so let's see what we got over here. Expect Perth Terminal 4 stand 15 Alpha, that is copied. Then let me get you filled in on the expected weather conditions. So, starting down here with the latest received ATIS. We've got the Perth and ATIS over here, arriving and departing runways 21 and 24, wind 210 at 16, so straight down the runway. Visibility 10, no clouds detected, temperature 21, QNH 1005. We are flying on 1005 already, and then let me get you filled in on the approach that we're actually going to fly. We are still waiting for further descent clearance, by the way. Currently, ATC wants us to maintain 14,000. Say again? I think they said something to us earlier, but that was very hard to understand.
Qantas 10, descend flight level 100.
Descending flight level 100, Qantas 10. Okay, set, 10,000 checked, level change. Cool, then let's go ahead and get started on the approach itself.
Qantas 10, descend altitude 3,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Descending 3,000 on 1005, Qantas 10. Set, and 3,000 checked. So this is our arrival, the Mod 2 Alpha. We've got a couple altitude restrictions here, but ATC kept us so high that we can't really comply with them anyway now, so that's not really going to matter. 3,000 is the MSA, 2,700 later on, and after Woofy we're getting radar vectors onto the ILS approach for runway 21. Now we've got the ILS Zulu 21. I know ATC said Yankee, but normally it's Zulu in the real world, so I will be using that. The approach itself starts eventually in 2,010 feet at 6.2 DME. Then we got VKIS at 1660, 3-degree glide slope down to the minimum of 250, which is set. Oops, didn't mean to hide the yoke. And then the go around straight at to 2,000 or 0.60 me from the ILS, whichever is later, left turn 170, climbing 3,000. Well, and that's mostly what we are going to do over here. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and start the approach briefing. And just while we're about to do that, let me already start reducing our speed towards 250 here, since we have to lose a couple of knots. Okay, so for the briefing, it's the... what's it called again? I keep forgetting that name. It's the IPMOR 2 Alpha arrival, and the ILS approach Zulu runway 21. Minimum is 250, MSA 3000, and the go-around straight at left turn, climbing 3000. Extra fuel and time, that's something that we absolutely do need to talk about, because we did use a little bit more fuel than what was originally anticipated, and I did commit to landing here in Perth. So if we look at the flight plan, we can see the final reserve is 2,000 kilos, and we are expected to land at 3,300 kilos. So we're basically carrying about 45 minutes of fuel on arrival. I would like to have more, but then again, no reason to divert for that, since the weather in Perth is superb and we got several runways available over there. Alright, so the approach itself is going to be flown with flight director guidance, flaps 30 and auto brakes 3, maximum reverse to be used, vacate the runway to the left hand side, and then we'll be taxiing to the apron. They stat stand 15. Let's just have a very quick look into that. So, aerodrome parking chart. No, we're supposed to be down here, and that seems to be on a different chart. Okay. Yep, here it is, International Terminal, and stand... I think it's that one here, 151, not 15. Oh, that's gonna be fine. So 151 in the corner over here. So all the way up, and then by the taxi lane down here to the International Terminal. Okay, and that's everything we are going to do today. Do you have questions or suggestions on the briefing? No? Lovely. So that's our approach briefing completed. Well then, let's go ahead and take a moment to talk about the PA. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We've started our descent towards Perth and have a remaining flight time of approximately 10 minutes. The weather in Perth, beautiful. Couple clouds, temperature 21 degrees. Thank you very much for choosing Qantas for today's service. We hope you enjoyed the past 16 hours on board our Boeing 787, and we look forward to welcoming you all again on board of a future flight. Thank you very much for your attention, and we wish you a nice and safe onwards journey. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Okay, so passing 10,000. Lights on, signs on, and then we can do the approach checklist, please. Altimeters, QNH 1005. Approach checklist complete. Okay, 1274, let's pre-select that. Alrighty, so after Woofy we are just going to continue outbound, so that's all easy going. And here we are, Australia. All the way from Europe. It's a fantastic sight, isn't it? I mean, we've literally flown halfway around the world. When you think about where London is, then everything in London is upside down compared to where we are right now. We literally flew it halfway around the world. That's such a strange feeling, isn't it? Alright, so let's help it a bit with our descent, and then we are going to continue on this heading as per the star. Heading select. Qantas 10, request radar vectors for the approach.
Qantas 10, turn left heading 360 vectors for the ILS runway 21 approach.
Left heading 360 vectors ILS 21, Qantas 10. Okay, heading 360. And then let's do vertical speed. 1,500 feet a minute, should be good. As it seems like they are once again turning us out a little bit. I gotta say, I could get used to this site. Summer season. Coming down there from the hardest winter. What is it complaining about? Fuel quantity low. Yeah, disregard that. They still have 45 minutes on board.
Departure, Qantas 6115, 2000 for 4000.
Qantas 6115, radar contact. Climb and maintain 13-3000.
Alright, thanks. And then we are basically ready for the base turn any moment. Here's the 10-mile final, so they turn us base now. That's basically gonna be fine. Qantas 10 is ready to turn base. So you can have the terrain.
Qantas 10, turn left heading 340 vectors for the ILS runway 21 approach.
Heading 340, Qantas 10. Left is not the direction where I want to go. Okay, in that case, vertical speed minus 1000. Actually, we can make that minus 500. Because we do want to get a continuous descent arrival at the end of the day.
Turn right, heading 095.
Right heading 095, Qantas 10.
Qantas 10 heavy, 11 miles from Bike. Turn right, heading 140, descend altitude 2500 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 21 approach.
Right heading 140, descent 2500 feet, cleared ILS 21, Qantas 10. Okay, so unfortunately it looks like the range to altitude ring, there it comes. Yeah, it looks, I mean we are low in profile, we don't need to talk about that. So the heading seems kinda okay. Then let's just put that center fix on top, like that. And here we are. I'll keep it fast until we are like 15 miles out, then we'll start decelerating. Perhaps go a little bit lower right now already, 1000 feet a minute downwards. Okay, that heading actually looks quite okay. Bringing us onto an 11-mile final. Well then, let's have some fun. So, manual flight, manual thrust. So we're cleared for the approach. Okay, but we are not receiving any ILS. Because it hasn't tuned the ILS. Okay. Autopilot on. ILS Zulu to 109.5. And the course is 196. Here we go. And there we go with an ILS. No identifier yet, it's gonna be India Golf Delta. And it tells me 197 is not the correct course, we will ignore that. 13 miles. Well, it does seem to be the right one, however. Okay, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. So approach mode armed. Let's start slowing down. And then I will take over manually. Let's start turning final already. Localizer capture. Even though we don't have an ILS ident. And flaps 1. Match speed. Something like that looks good.
Qantas 10, contact Perth Tower on 127.4.
127.4, Qantas 10. Perth Tower, Qantas 10 Heavy, ILS 21. Flaps 5. Speed checked.
Qantas 10 Heavy, Perth Tower, roger. Continue approach runway 21 ILS.
Continue ILS 21, Qantas 10.
Qantas 10 Heavy, winds 210 at 15, runway 21 cleared to land.
Runway 21, clear to land, Qantas 10 heavy. Alright, glide capture, go around altitude set. Okay. Gear down, flaps 15. And flaps 20, flaps 30. Landing checklist. Why do we not get anything here? Oh, because I entered the wrong setting. Okay, that's fine. Here we go, that's better. Landing checklist complete. Okay, target speed is set, everything is set. Clear to land, and we will vacate that runway to the left. Tiny bit of turbulence here, nothing significant. But still nice that we've got something to do. I really gotta say that I do like the realistic turbulence here. I mean, it's not 100% realistic, but it's enjoyable. Checked. That river really looks good, doesn't it? Okay, let's stay on the glide slope. We are good on the puppy though. So, typical summer weather, the speed is varying a little bit. No need to chase it, just keep your target thrust setting and it will eventually come back. If at all, very small corrections, couple percent N1, no more than that. Ooh, look at that weather. I'm not doing anything on the controls right now. Perhaps I should though, just to stay on the glide slope here. Just wanted to show you what the weather was doing to us here. What is it doing? Nope, you're not adding any thrust, my friend. Alright, here we go. Spoilers, reverse, 80 knots. Okay, manual brakes. And then we go off to the left. And with that, welcome to Australia.
Qantas 10, welcome to Perth. Contact ground on 121.7.
121.7, Qantas 10. Ground hello, Qantas 10, request taxi to gate 151.
Taxi to Terminal 1, Gate 151 via Charlie 6, Charlie, Tango Lane. Good day.
Charlie 6, Charlie Tango Line, gate 151, Qantas 10, thank you, and good day. What the? Yeah. Welcome to... I mean, I suppose this happens after what just happened to our airplane, but... What the... I promise this is not AI generated. The sim is doing that. What the hell? 16 hours flight time, guys. This is what you get. Terminal 1 International 151. Walk me there. And do not taxi me into the... Oh boy, this is fantastic. This is what you get for doing such a flight. Ah, flight sim. Come on, walk me there. Now, no comment on those engines, but I suppose we made it. Park brake set. Any power or anything? Yeah, ground power is available. Alright, cool. So let's just clean her up as if this would have been a normal landing. So, after landing procedures are complete, then we arrive at the gate, we taxi in, the lights go out, ground power is available and connected, shutdown. This is just fantastic, guys. This is fantastic. What else could... What could possibly happen? You're vacating the runway and it just beams you into nowhere. Ah, nothing better for the immersion after a 16-hour flight, is there? Alright. Engines are running down. At least it happened after landing, not before it. Alright then, here we are. Shutdown checklist, please. We'll just imagine like everything would have gone well. Park and brake is set. Shutdown checklist complete. Okay, so let's get GSX. Let's start the deboarding. If it would recognize... You literally just beamed us to a stand. Why can't you recognize us being there? No comment. No comment. Well, my friends, I think we can end it here. Thank you so much for flying along. Do hope you liked it. As always, leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. Like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.